on another episode on Sunnylanka. I'm your host Priya, and today we will be making something that is very popular in the Indian community in Sri Lanka, and it is found at all the roadside food places, and it is Dosa or Dosa, and it is so simple to make. So let's go through the ingredients. First off, we'll need 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds, and I'm using the whole, and this is unroasted, so it's just raw fenugreek seeds. 1 cup of urad dal, and this is what it looks like. This is whole, but it can also be split into 2, and that's fine as well, but it has to be skinned. So it has to have the black skin off of it, and this is what you'll be left with. And I have here, so 1 cup of urad dal to 3 cups of rice, and I've washed my rice, and I'm using a long grain rice. You can also find a special rice for making Dosa, and that is fine as well. You can use that, but if not, you can just use a long grained rice, a white rice, and it'll work well. So I washed the rice, and my urad dal is pretty clean. If not, you can wash that separately too. And then basically what you're going to do is dump all 3 of them together in a bowl, which I've already done. So there it is. I put the fenugreek, the rice, and the urad dal. It's a lot easier for me. Some people do soak the rice individually in a bowl, the urad dal individually, and the fenugreek separately, and then blend, when it's time to grind it, they will even grind it separately. But for me, I want to make it as easy as possible. It cuts down on different dishes as well. So here it is. So I put all 3 of them into a bowl, and then I topped it up with lots of water, and I'm going to let it soak for a few hours, so as many hours as you can. Now this is the afternoon. I'm going to be grinding it in the evening or late at night. So I'll give it about 3 to 4 hours of soaking at least, so that all of the grains will get a little softer and it'll be easier to grind them. So I'll meet you back in the night or the late evening in a couple of hours, and we will grind this down to the batter. Okay, so now it's been a couple of hours since this has been soaking, and all of the grain has slightly plumped up. You'll notice it most in the urad dal, that it will have slightly plumped up. Now we're going to grind the mixture down. Pardon my voice, I got a cold overnight. So so to do this part, you can use the water that it's in to help with the grinding, or you can use some fresh water like I'm doing. I didn't cover my bowl, so I would rather not use that water, but it's up to you. And I also have here 1 tablespoon of cooked rice. This is optional. I don't usually use this all the time, but I was told that, and I know I have tried it, that if you do use the rice, the batter will ferment for sure. So it is a foolproof way of doing the batter, but it also makes it a little more, how do you say, it ferments for sure. So your dosa will come out a little more softer. So this is if you want to make soft dosa or doshas, okay? So if you want them more crispy, then don't add in the rice. That's what I would say. Okay, so now I'm just using a blender, and I'm going to, let me just get that off there, into my cup. I'll try to do this without shaking it too much. All right. So I'm using a slotted spoon just to help with, draining out the mixture, but if you were to use that water, you could just dump it in. Okay, so I'm getting in most of it, and I will do them in 2 batches. Okay. For the amount of things I have here, I should do it in 2 batches, or else my blender won't be able to handle it. So maybe another spoon. There. Okay. I'll also put in the rice into this batch, then I don't have to remember it for the next one. Okay. And just to top it up with some water. And I always tend to do this. I make the first batch a little watery, and then the second batch a little thicker. That way it works out for me, but really I will show you the consistency at the end, and you'll get a feel of what it should be like. And you can do both batches that way if you like. Somehow I don't seem to get the same consistency every time, so I try to figure it out as I go along. Okay, so there, and I'm gonna just work my blender. And what you're looking for is that if you were to feel this batter in your fingers, and I suggest that you do, like you just feel it like that, and there shouldn't be any big granules. They can be tiny, and you will feel a little bit, but as long as they're very little or very small, then you reach that consistency, and it should be a fairly thick batter. Okay, so there, and using a spatula really does help get the batter out of the blender or food processor. I'm going to now put some cling wrap on this and cover it up and let it sit overnight. Okay, so there I've covered it up with saran wrap or plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it in the oven with the light on, and that way it's not, there's no draft, and it can just sit there and do its thing. And I will leave it there for at least about 8 to 10 hours. So this is for tomorrow morning's breakfast, and so I'll see you then. Good morning. So it's the next day morning, and I'm just going to open up the saran wrap. I've taken it out of the oven. I had the light on in the oven the whole night. So there, you can see it's sorry, it's almost doubled in size. I have here a ladle, and give that a good mix. And it is fermented, as you can see. It's nice and bubbly and light, I guess. So now I'm going to add in some salt to taste. So I have my salt here. You guys probably see this container in most of my videos. I got it in Sri Lanka. It's to keep salt, but there, instead of the table salt, they have, just putting in the salt here, and this salt to taste. They have rock salt. Okay, so now anyways, let's give this mixture a good mix, and it is ready. Okay, you'll see that this is the consistency, but it's a little bit like pouring consistency and a lot lighter than pancake mix. Very, very fluffy and bubbly there. Okay, so now along with this, the first thing that you will need is a flat pan. And this one I got a few years ago. I've had it for a while now. It's non-stick, but it's got a few scratches on it. But what it is really, really flat, if I can show you that way. It's really, really flat. And it makes the dosa. You could do crepes on this, you could do pancakes on this. I even sometimes do my roti on it. And it just keeps it evenly heated. because it's so flat. You could also use a frying pan, a really large frying pan. Now, traditionally, dosa is made with sesame oil. So I have here just about a tablespoon of sesame oil, and I will be using this paper towel, and all we need to do is basically just dip it, and you don't want any excess, and you're just going to give the pan a nice rub. Very, very light coating. You could also use cooking spray, I guess, but the sesame oil really is, it flavors the dosa as well, so it has a nice taste to it. Okay, so that we have that going, and then I'm going to start the heat, and I'll keep it on a medium heat and give it a while till the pan heats up. So in the meantime, I'm just going to set out another plate or something that I can take the dosa off of onto. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but the skillet is starting to smoke a little bit, so I'm just taking it off the heat. You don't want it too hot. And yeah, okay, so once you put that on, you need to ladle a full spoon of the batter onto the thing, and you hear that sound. That's where it gets its name. It's actually Thosai, and basically what that is it makes two side noises because you're putting 2 spoons of the batter onto the pan. So it's Thosai, and that's how it got the name Thosai, and then it's been you know, different pronunciations, different accents have made it dosa in Sri Lanka. I will also need a flat spatula to lift it. Okay. I'm waiting to see it lift off like this everywhere, and it's got to get a nice light brown on the bottom. And then you want to gently go all the way across, all the way around, I mean, and flip it. There. So these dosas are soft, and they are meant to be eaten with a dal or a chutney. We're having dal curry today, but you can have it with chutney or chicken curry or whatever you want. They're traditionally eaten for breakfast or dinner. So the breakfast accompaniment would be chutney and sambar. It's a South Indian dal with veggies in it. So there's my first dosa. In the meantime, I can go ahead again. I have to put a little bit of the sesame oil. Now it's a non-stick pan. I don't really have to put the oil on. It will come off without it, but it, like I said, it adds a nice flavor. And each time you have to give the batter a good mix, because it's got the rice and the urad dal in it, and the rice is heavier, so it tends to settle on the bottom. I'm going to put 2 spoons this time to make a bigger thosai. So basically I'm using the bottom of the spoon to smooth it out. You can see it's starting to lift off right here. I'm waiting for a good color. that was about a minute. So just make sure you loosen it on all sides before you try to flip it, otherwise it'll break. And then there. Perfect. A minute on one side and maybe 30 seconds on the other side. You'll know it just comes off very easily. So by second, and I'm going to make a few more of these. So there you have it, folks, today's dish, which is dosa, and I have made several here and they are soft and ready to eat. I like to eat them hot, but since I was filming this, they've kind of cooled down a little bit. So anyways, I hope you will try it, and it goes very well with my coconut chutney, which I will bring you in my next video. And that's how to enjoy dosa. Dosa can be enjoyed with any curry really, but for breakfast I like it with coconut chutney. So I hope you try it and enjoy it, and do give me your feedback. You can also post your pictures on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and until next time, Ayubowan.